Hi there, I'm Craig Stevens, and people want to know about me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more. One of the questions I get asked is, Craig, you're a world-class artisan acrylics. What does that mean? Well, they call me the Flags of America artist. And so that's because I use flags and the names of fallen heroes to create art. And this art is donated to places like museums and other places, embassies. And what we do with that is we get sponsors, and the sponsors help pay for that kind of thing. So the art is worth a lot. It's worth like $10,000 a piece, but we usually uh, raise half of that, and we donate the other half. And so that's kind of what I do. So in order, and then people sometimes ask me, my hair's going away. What happened? Looks like the green screen is reacting. I don't think I have green hair, but it sure looks like that on screen. So I'll share the visual of what that means. So I'll go to the website and then I'll share that with you. So this is our art. This is my art. So this is the first page. So it's at craigastevens.com. And if you look at each one of these images, they represent a larger page, right? So this is just the first page or the image that goes to that particular part of the gallery. So if we look at heroes and history, this will give you an idea of the hero art I do. So all of this is, like I said, the Flags of America artists. I wonder why, right? So this is what that looks like. See, there's a bunch of images there. Our goal is to create one image for every state of all the fallen police officers, and then another one for all the fallen firefighters and first responders. To give you an idea what that looks like, on each one of these have names in the background. So this is the one we called Missing in Action. It's on tour right now with a group that's related to Missing in Action. And so you see the POW MIA flag, and you see all the services flags. Well, what you don't see in the background is, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Oh, it's not blowing up any bigger than that. So in the background, it's hard to see are their names associated with the Missing in Action in Vietnam. So this flag, all these names in the background are just from Vietnam, and their last names only, with no repeats. So if there's like 10 Smiths, there's only one Smith on this flag. And it's just breathtaking. When I'm painting these, I'm thinking about, well, what are the families going through? What did the people go through, and what sacrifices they made so that we can all be free, whatever the situation. This one is the New York flag. So this one is the New York state flag, and it has the names, and this one's dedicated. I call this one New York Remembers, and it's all related to the 9/11 attacks on New York, and so on Twin Towers. So if we look closer, we can see that these are the first half of the names are from those who died during 9/11, and the second part of the names are those who died from complications due to 9/11 since 9/11. So it's more people have died. I think this is right, but more people have died after 9/11 because of complications from inhalation of toxic materials and other things than had died during 9/11, just to give you an idea. And so that would be an example. And so part of that whole series, it relates to other, relating to 9/11. You just look at this sacrifice. So this is the Army who, soldiers who've died since 9/11. That's the Marines who've died since 9/11. That's the Navy guys who died since 9/11, the sailors, then the airmen who died since 9/11. So if I look closer into the Army, you'll see that the names are just overwhelming. These are the names, and they're not full names, they're last names in most cases, of the people who died in the Army, the soldiers who died since 9/11. On the original, it goes all around the edges, and it overflows onto the Air Force flag because there's more Army guys that died than Marines, more Marines that died since the compared to the Navy, and more Navy guys than the Air Force. So I overflowed the Army onto the Air Force and the Marines onto the Navy flags. So all these names, that first name, Ryan Christian Canals, he was my son's and my daughter's, my older son and daughter's first cousin. And so, and he was the last soldier, special forces guy who died in 9/11. I mean, I died, last soldier died in pullout in Afghanistan. And so it's a, a very emotional piece. It talks to the Army guys specifically, and there's one for the Marines to show you. That's the Marine flag, just beautiful, I think. And so this is the same type of thing where we look at it, and there's the Marine Corps flag and the names of the Marines who died since 9/11. When you look at it that way, we've sacrificed a whole lot as a nation. These all these names represent people and brothers and sisters and parents and grandparents and children who, those were the fathers and the mothers. They belong to church. They belong to churches. They belong to communities. And so when you look at that, it is important that we understand what sacrifice looks like. The purpose of these flags are to represent history in a way that we can explain it to children. To give you an idea, this is probably I have several controversial flags. This one, when you look at, looks very controversial, but when you hear the story, it's the Underground Railroad, right? So there's the route of the Underground Railroad. The first names up here are those people who manned the Underground Railroads. Right below them are the Black Medal of Honor winners. And then right below them are the regiments, the black regiments that fought in the Civil War. And below that are all the battles the regiments fought in. You see the Confederate flag deteriorating, being blocked by the Union flag and the routes of the slaves that were taken trying to get to freedom. So this is a very emotional flag too. In this flag, we actually wrote a children's book. And the children's book talks about, for the children's story, it talks about the heroes of the Underground Railroad. And then there's a center section that's for parents to talk about lessons to learn from the whole concept. And it's about forgiveness, it's about courage, it's about respect and those kind of things, right? And then at the end, it tells the story just strictly for adults. So each of the children's book has 3 parts. And so this is about me and my art. And so to tell you about the art, I have to kind of show you the images. So if we went to, I mean, those are just some of the art. So this is kind of cool too. This one is, this gallery is all about the palettes I use to create the art. So if you can imagine, I'm holding a small canvas, I'm mixing paint on it, and I'm making the larger canvas. And so at the end, instead of waste all that paint, because I've thrown away lots of paint before, right? So instead of wasting that paint, I'm taking the excess paint and I'm making different paintings out of it. So these are cheaper pieces, originals. They're like $5 a square inch, right? So these I sell for, closer to $50, $100 because they're small canvases, and the others sell closer to 10,000, or whatever I can get at them, to be honest. And so at this, and then it all funds more art to explain the history of the United States to people who may never learn history, in a way that they can see the sacrifice, the names of the people involved during the history. And so that's the goal. I mean, it's overwhelming when you look at it. But our goal is to document every fallen police officer, every fallen firefighter, document every single military fallen as far back as we can go. And so that's a big, hairy, audacious goal too. And the way we get that done is we get sponsors. But anyway, that's me and my art. One more thing I'll show you related to the art. So this is the palette paintings. And then also I do more than just what you see there. So there's landscapes too. And I think I'm pretty good at landscapes. So this is an example of the different landscapes. And you can go in and look at it anytime you want. Just go to craigasstevens.com. But this is an example of lightning, one of the lightning strikes paintings I did. And then this is one of my favorite paintings because it reminds me of growing up as a child. And in this picture of this tree, you'll see this is kind of my, I can remember growing up on a farm. I grew up in Holiday Inns, but we had farms on weekends. We had a farm we worked on weekends. So I worked at Holiday Inn during a weekday and the farms on the weekend. I had a great childhood, but I worked a lot. And so my dad would be out bush hogging the field, and I'd be sitting under some big tree like this, eating a pickle, a dill pickle, because that's what I liked. And I guess that was good for me because runners do that now, right? And so that's a picture, one of my favorite soothing, and all these are for sale. You want one of them, I'll sell them to you, and we'll paint another one similar to maybe your history on this and these. And then this is a local Franklin, Tennessee painting related to Legends Golf Course. And you see it's kind of cool. I like it. It's my representation of what Legends Golf Course looks like. And I took some artistic license. I removed the golf carts, things like that. But so here's the picture of that. And so it gives you an idea what I do related to art. So when I say I'm a world-class artist in oils and acrylics, and I'm known as the Flags of America artist, you'll know what I'm talking about.